Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel and the BMW project. Got my BMW hat on for this today and a new sweatshirt. I've got these available down below. You can click that link and get a sweatshirt. Anyway, I've been at work on the Z4 and I've got a lot to do, but we've changed things up a bit. I may have made a drastic decision in the middle of the day while not feeling good and taken this project. Well, let's just say I made a lot more work for myself. But check this out. Now, you probably can't see it without a bunch of extra light, so let me help you out with that. I said a bunch of extra light. This didn't work. Anyway, we've painted the engine bay. I've gone to a British Racing green color, which absolutely means, yes, we're doing a color change on this car. It also highlights how badly the valve covers look, which is one of the things that I need to do today. I need to get these valve covers off and to the powder coating shop. You'll see what color I picked for the valve covers when they're done. A lot of things that we need to address today. We need to address the fact that I've taken away all of the whatever this foam stuff is on the firewall, the heat shield. It's I guess it's like a sound deadening or something, but do need to put a little bit of heat shielding on here, mostly because I already own it. I have some of the gold stuff that I used on the 928 project and need to do that. Need to get the HVAC box back in the car and mounted, along with some sound deadening inside the car. One thing that'll be cool is once I get these valve covers off, you'll actually be able to see just how clean everything is underneath them, inside the engine. It's pretty impressive, actually. So, as you can see, the inside of this engine is just immaculate. It's sold to me as like a 39,000 mile engine, and it looks like someone really did a good job at taking care of it. First thing I need to do is cover this stuff up so that I don't get a bunch of garbage in the engine, because I clearly work in a very clean environment and are meticulous about maintenance of this workspace, as you can tell. So I'm going to find some plastic and get these sealed up, get the cylinder, get the valve covers off to the powder coating shop, which you can see here, even the valve covers are just super clean inside. It could be less than 39,000 miles, but I don't know. This is one of the cleanest engines I've ever seen inside of. All right, one of the things I did in the meantime while I'm waiting for valve covers to get done is I took the bar that goes underneath the dash and just shot some rust converter black paint on it to keep it from getting worse, and I don't know, just cleans it up underneath the dash a little bit. It's one little tab I forgot to do. It's kind of one of those things I didn't really need to do, but also while I have the dash out, why not? I'm back inside the BMW and I'm not working with a lot of room or intelligence at this point, but I have some of this stuff to replace the stuff that we cut out around the transmission tunnel, because I needed to make room for me and all the things happening in here. And so it's not the best or most expensive material, but I have it, so I can use it. Don't have to go buy something else. And it's pretty easy to use. Just peel and stick. Maybe make a few cuts along the way. Sorry, I'm trying to work around the camera, around the transmission tunnel, around the steering column, and I'm not designed to fit in places like this, which may surprise you. Kind of work this this into this area, and then put a little triangle right here around the HVAC hole. Just to maybe make it as quiet in here as it was. Maybe not, but there we go. Okay, now there. That's good enough for the cars we drive. I think that's how the saying goes. All right, so now I can jump to the other side of the car and we can put in the heater box, which is here. Get that out of the way, and then reinstall the bar that goes across that holds kind of everything under the dash in place. Oh, the other thing I've got to put in is this guy here, which goes underneath, and then the drain tube. So it was really nice of BMW to make this drain tube so large. Unfortunately, now that we've wedged a giant transmission in here, in this space, I'm not going to have quite as much room for drain tube activities, which hopefully doesn't become a problem. But yeah, that's possibly going to become a problem. I think what I'm going to do, all right, two things. One, I need to get this back in there. Two, that's probably still going to be too tall. And it's going to rub on the transmission a bit. Less likely to if I put it in the correct way. Just, you know, an observation. There's that. Now it is touching the transmission, but I don't have a lot of options here. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a little bit of tape, and I'm not going to fully tape that harness, but I'm just going to wrap it a few times to keep the loose ends at bay. I'm just going to use some of this, little bit of this Tessa tape just to kind of help these things along, you know. The factory didn't fully tape this harness, so I don't think I need to either, especially if I do need to get back in here and work on the harness at all. I'm not making extra work for myself, only just extra. It's never going to be right where it's supposed to be, but it'll be better. All right, and there's that part. So the next part is now I got to drop the 2 bolts on the steering wheel that I have in place, or steering column, let it down, and then put the bar back in here. Gotta tuck myself down in here. Should get the harder to get one out first. Oh, I don't want to lay in the car today if I don't have to. Okay, now I get to try to work this whole this bar back in here. Try to make this whole thing go back in the car without too much drama. All right, now I can get some tools, tighten this stuff up. But that is sort of back together. I can reattach the steering column back to all the brackets that are supposed to hold this up out of the way. I'd have hosed myself by not tucking that behind that bar as it was coming up. Of course, now I've got the airbox to deal with. There we go. Hopefully that's enough. Yep. All right, now I can put the rest of the hardware in. The question on everyone's mind is where do the heater core lines come out at? And the answer is right here. It's actually not too bad. I do need to get this grommet to tuck back in, but I can do that later. Now that that's all back in place, all of the AC will plug in here and it's going to have to be obviously custom lines. Up here is for the braces that go from here to here and over here. So I think they're just stamped metal. Might do something, like get a piece of like nice aluminum or something to go between the two, especially if I can find some like aluminum bar stock at like Metal Supermarket or something. The next step will be to put some of that gold foil on the firewall just to make it look nicer. I don't know if you've powder coated anything lately, because I sure haven't, but yeah, doing the valve covers and getting new gaskets, I think is going to cost me about $500, if you can believe that. Some of you can. Some of you, I know some of you are like, yeah, shut up and pay the man. All right, you may love it, you may hate it, but worst case, I can get another one of those pieces of the factory sound deadening, put it over the top, and it'll stretch all the way over to the edge of the firewall. But I don't know, I think it adds like a little bit of a custom look to it. This stuff is really hard to apply, actually. It doesn't really stretch. Like, you can't like stretch it into a recess that's there. All it cost me was time, which I don't actually have a lot of. All right, just got the valve covers back from powder coating, and I've got a whole bag of gaskets here to reinstall them. So that's my goal for today, is to get the new valve covers. Well, not new, but valve covers back on the car so I can work on other stuff in the engine compartment. But here they are. It's the Hammerite finish, not the wrinkle finish. Unfortunately, I couldn't get anything in green in a wrinkle finish. Hopefully, they match up pretty well and look nice in the freshly painted engine compartment. One of the things I learned while doing this was that these inserts that go in the valve cover actually do a really good job and are supposed to go through the gasket to help hold it in place while you're installing it. So that's handy. That was a little bit of on-the-job training that I learned. and I schmutzed myself again. So I'm going to go ahead and install all of the inserts and then go try putting this back on. All right, the valve covers are in. Yes, I know that the color in the camera is a little bit different than the paint. I don't have any control over that. I picked out a color that was pretty close to what I needed, and for the most part it is. I know it looks pretty kermity when I've got the camera on it, but like in normal light, it's close enough. And I got a little bit of like a wrinkle finish on it. So I couldn't get green wrinkle paint in the US. There's an Italian company that makes green wrinkle paint. That probably would have been a little better match, but I would have had to pay and wait a long time to get that stuff. So this is what we have. I have a shorty intake manifold coming. I mean, I say shorty, it's like an inch shorter, but that's coming. So I have that on the way, and I have a new tool in the shop. Whoosh. This little guy here, thanks to my friend Albert for giving me the opportunity to get it, and to Dennis for giving it to me. We now have a bandsaw. That's right. This is one of those really nice ones that you lay it on the tube and it just does the cutting for you. So it does need a little bit of work. I got to get a new blade for it. This blade is long for the world, but other than that, it works good. So this is going to be clutch in making a bunch of tubing to fit the headers and the exhaust. So that's a sign of what's to come. Is we're going to have plenty of opportunity to use this. Going to make headers and all the exhaust for the BMW, because I can't pay anyone to do it. So that's all from this episode of Throttle Grotto. Until next time, get out there and work on something.